So this past week, we had another major sweep of those trying to survive. Perfect. 20 feet of clear space. Talked to these guys earlier. So there's some concern about fire, explosion, the storage of fuels and gas, and all of that kind of stuff. Hi guys, how are you? So this area was part of a sweep on Thursday. The other part of the sweep was on Tuesday and Wednesday that landed a couple of those people on the very end here. Some of the older ones. Hey Jack, how are you? That's okay. Everybody's busy. So those first two campers down there house some of the elderly chronic homeless that are never going to get housed. And the effects of that have been the effects of sweeping them, stressing them out, making them move, has compounded medical conditions. I've got one guy that's all held up in one of those campers who's very sick but refusing medical. So another one of the guys called me to come check on him. So I did. Yeah, he's alert, but he's sick as shit and he doesn't want to move. And then the other one had a doctor's appointment scheduled by the coalition, but it was scheduled when she was at the other location before they swept. See, this is what becomes part of the problem, just a small part of the problem when they're sweeping people, that once they've started connecting to services, boom, gone. Everything stops. Everything comes to a halt because none of those caseworkers know where to find these people. So luckily, the one that really needs to go to the doctor had a card. She was able to find the card that they wrote the information on. So I can try to call that caseworker tonight and inform her of her new location since the sweep. Yeah, it's complete bullshit. She desperately needed medical care the day after the sweep. And refused that because she said she had an upcoming doctor's appointment. I'm gonna go check another location, but I cannot believe the amount of medical conditions that these people experience after these sweeps. So they do a cost analysis of what these sweeps cost, and it would ultimately be cheaper to leave them where they are and maintain that area or find a safe place for them to park. They swept them, they moved, and within 24 hours, the cops were back on their shit posting 72-hour notices to move again. So they're all scrambling because they're scared to death. They're stressed out. So I have literally been called out here like a dozen times in the last 2 days just to fix issues and try to help people as best I can. I thought this call I got today was interesting from the Denver Police Department, District 3. They wanted to tow one camper, apparently, and not the others. And somebody gave them my phone number and said, call her. So the cops call me, and they want me to tow a camper. You know what, Denver? If you want them moved, you tow them. It's that simple. Tow them to a safe space. Yeah, you know, Jack, that's an interesting observation, because Denver likes to claim that they don't ever want to take advantage of resources. Well, look what happens, right? And if they do get in a situation where they can get into housing, they have to have those wraparound services. They have to have continuous help, because you don't, it's like you and I going from our house to the street. I'd have to have a caseworker out here who knows how to live on the street, teach me how to live on the street, or else I would stumble and fall numerous times trying to figure that out myself. Hi, Bohica. So we're talking about the after effect of this sweep and how many people have medical conditions right now. One of them really needs to go to the ER, but he's not going to go. I'm going to come back in the morning and check on him. If you remember from the last sweep, sweet little Rana, she had to move all of her stuff because I couldn't get in to help her through the fence. And so she had a massive hernia. And yeah, thank you. Google a conscience, would you please? She had a massive hernia, so she ended up in the hospital for a couple of days. He needs to go to the hospital. Somebody went to the ER on the day of the sweep. He was sick as shit. This woman in front of me here, she needed medical attention the day after the sweep and refused it. But she's got an appointment tomorrow with a caseworker at the Coalition for the Homeless. But they set that up when she was on the other side before they swept her. So they're not going to know where she's at. So luckily she has a card, and I'm going to call and hopefully leave a message for that caseworker to be able to tell her where she's at, because they're supposed to come pick her up and take her to this appointment. So that's great. So I've got another 69-year-old woman that was swept from one side of the Platte River. We've talked about the Platte River being the dividing line between two police districts, right? So we got District 3 over there and District 4 over here where we are now. So she went from District 4 to 3, and they had started a couple processes for her that I guess they're not going to finish. I don't know. But I've started processes for her to get on the housing list. How is it that in the last 9 months, I have been able to permanently house 4 people that were out here? One of them's still out here who could have been permanently housed by now if this was a true fact that Denver was out here following through with resources, because they're not. They're not. And the day that this area was swept, I had a little girl in the front seat of my car, and she was this close to being ready to commit to getting off the streets. She knew she needed to go to detox. We were talking about that. But she was scared to death because we had to relocate her and try to connect her with resources all at the same time. So we get her to this new spot, and Denver, in all their infinite wisdom, decides to send out the early intervention team that we were supposed to have start in January. It's now May, and they show up in the middle of a sweep for early intervention. Okay? So we drive up to this area where all these uniformed people are. Who knows who's who knows who the caseworkers are, whatever. She doesn't want to get out of the car. She says, can you please go talk to them and see if there's anything available? And I want you to be here because I need somebody by my side. She was by herself, maybe trying to get out of not maybe, she was trying to get out of a domestic violence situation. But you don't get out of those on the street and going from one side of the river to the other. Everybody knows where everybody's at. So she was going to be found. She was scared. So I get out of the car. I leave her in the car with a bottle of water, and I start talking to the early intervention team. And they tell me that the supervisor is coming. I said, fine, let us work through some things and we'll see where we can go. This guy pulls up in a Prius. He's got jeans, a polo, and a baseball cap on. He gets out of the car and pulls up his thin blue line handkerchief up to here, puts his sunglasses on, and pulls his hat down. And he starts walking up to my car. And behind him is this other Asian woman who I thought maybe was like the supervisor, because this dumb shit that was about to approach me like that certainly was not a professional, right? Oh, guess what? Turns out he's second in charge of the early intervention team from Denver's Health and Human Services. Okay, so this guy, oh my God, this was after 5 hours of me providing physical labor, money, sweat and tears to cooperate with the city to move these people so they didn't continue to get harassed. I'd been up since 2:30 in the morning because they lied about what time they were going to start this. They said it was 5. They didn't even start doing anything until 7:15. So by the time we get over there, this guy starts approaching my car with this little gal sitting here scared to death. And he walks up to the side of my car. I'm outside the door talking to her. She's sitting in the passenger seat. He puts his hands on his hips. What's going on? I looked at him. I said, nothing. We're just having a conversation here. He said, okay, well, how can we help? What's going on? I said, we're not having this conversation at my car. And he said, we are having a confidential conversation with her. So you're going to have to go over there. Needless to say, shit hit the fan. That guy turned around and whistled and did one of these. Let's go. Let's get out of here. I shit you not. In front of this little girl that was wanting help, because she would have consented to allow me to be part of that conversation. And I tried to tell that guy this. So anyway, that was a disaster. So she couldn't get connected to anything she really wanted to. So she's now living in fear with this man that has found her. I don't even know really how to make any sense of this. And I wasn't recording because I was busy. I have to have somebody following me to record, because if you could have seen this shit go down, you would have just been amazed. So that was Thursday. And then in the middle of that, all the people that moved from this side to the other side, well, they needed a toilet. So I took them the toilet that they've had over here. Well, the neighbors had a problem with that. You saw that video. Yeah, that went south in a hurry. So there's all this animosity and there's all this confrontation going on. And you know why? It's because people see what government is doing, so they think they can replicate it. They think they can replicate that aggression. They think they can target those that are simply trying to make the transition easier, to provide a little bit of human dignity. With a toilet. Holy shit, a toilet. That guy said, put the toilet somewhere else, because if you leave it here, they will come. No, dumbass. They came over here and I brought the toilet to them because they're over here. So it's been a combination of continuous confrontation over in this area. And apparently the cops, I mean, they've been there 3 times now telling everybody they're going to cite them for trespassing for being on CDOT property. So they were there again today, telling them they're going to be there in the morning to cite them all for trespassing. So that should be interesting, right? In the morning. We'll see how that goes. Just the simple cost in the realm of medical care. That is the aftermath of making these people stress out to the max. These people aren't just moving their tents, they're moving their campers. Things are broke, things aren't working. We're trying to help them fix them. I don't have to do any of that, Denver. You know what? Seriously, you're really gonna tow these people's homes because they've got lug nut problems on a wheel and a wheel won't turn? No, I'm making sure that they can stay mobile so they're not in fear. They're all in fear of having their homes confiscated simply for trying to survive. And Denver's response to that is to keep making them move instead of managing them in a manageable area. They were in a business district. Now they're back in a residential area. What the hell did they think was going to happen? So now the neighbors are calling relentlessly. So now the cops are having to go back out there and respond to all these calls that have nothing to do with law enforcement being in charge of homelessness. The only thing left for law enforcement to do is to criminalize them to the hilt. What's that going to accomplish? Absolutely nothing. That's why they're ready to quit. Who, the cops or the homeless people? People trying to survive. You know what, Jack? That's a good point. There are some people out here that just absolutely cannot be housed. And they're never going to be housed. And we refuse to have those conversations. The cops, oh, I don't think the cops are quitting. No, they love responding to that stuff. It's a good time for them. Too many over-educated idiots. Yeah. Yep. With no answers. Absolutely none. So I was just kind of hanging out to see if my buddy Phil is gonna agree to get checked out because I'm incredibly worried about some of the psychosis that he's been showing over the last couple of days. It's been very dangerous. Hey, Thomas Stocks, how are you? I don't know if it's even really about robbing them so much more as it is just causing them so much pain and suffering and keeping the activists running in circles until we all give up. I mean, I don't know. You can't get blood out of a turnip. I mean, these people have nothing more to give, I guess, besides their soul, you know? There are a handful out here that, of course, are going to choose the lifestyle. And it does irritate me that the younger ones that, of course, can go to work are fighting that. However, they've gotten themselves so deep or so far behind the 8 ball that they can't find a way out. Oh, we got another good person pulling up here. There she goes. So we're very worried about a lot of people out here because there are some serious medical conditions going on. And we had another guy, well, she's out here to check on another guy that had major oral surgery and then got swept the next day. He's been very, very sick. Hi, Carol. What time tomorrow morning? Amy, if you're listening, let's call it 7:30, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. We're watching. We're paying attention. We're working very hard to help our people be good neighbors. And we are making a lot of progress. And every time we make progress, the city says, F you. They can't stay. They have to move. No, they really don't. But we're powerless to stop it right now because of the lawsuit. So Denver is filing an appeal to allow them to continue to sweep the homeless without a 7-day notice. They want a 48-hour notice only. They think that's humane, the humane thing to do. Even though they can see documented progress with activists that are doing it the right way, with advocates that are working with them, not only on the trash, but actually doing the job for the city and connecting these people to resources. I cannot tell you how many people I have had to process to simply just get them basic benefits to make sure that they have some health care. Because to allow people to die on the streets is very expensive. It's incredibly expensive. Carol, is there a traumatic displacement tomorrow morning? I haven't looked at the chat. I think I saw that there was one Thursday. Oh yeah, this went on all week. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But even from Tuesday to Wednesday, when they did that sweep, they were back over in the area that they moved to, telling them that they had 72 hours to move again. They were threatening to charge everyone with trespassing if they didn't leave in 24 hours. All of that was an idle threat. It's to scare them, because a lot of them won't stand up. They're just afraid. So, Carol, that is over. You may not have known about that sweep on the other side of Evans. So they went from the warehouse district in District 4 to the other side of the river into District 3 at the cul-de-sac. So if you want that exact location, email me at communityforums4us@gmail.com or at the nonprofit Regan at helpinghandsfordignity.org. I don't know, Bohica, can you put that up there? Oh, Bohica, are you listening? Who else is a moderator in here? Yeah, you're in here. So that my website is live again. We had to take that down for a while. I had to put some things on it. But all of the contact information, ways to donate to the nonprofit are there. helpinghandsfordignity.org. helpinghandsfordignity.org. Oh, I don't know that I'm an angel, Carol, but it doesn't hurt to care. I know you care too, so... So some of the people that moved with all the other people, it's too many people in one area. It really is. But again, they have nowhere to go. They're sweeping the streets of the RVs and then putting up no parking signs. And they're doing this all over the city. So eventually they're just gonna take on to the streets in residential areas. Until they find, safe outdoor spaces to park. There is the start of some safe outdoor spaces to park, but not in Denver. So they have to go outside of Denver. And even at that program is not allowing 24-hour parking. It's you can park at night, but you must leave during the day. That's going to work for about 1 out of, I'm going to say, 30 people that are actually living in their vehicles when their vehicles are operable, because a lot of them aren't. So if they were able to do all of those things, they wouldn't be on the streets. Hello? So let's start some programs and put all these stipulations to make it impossible. It's like total dominance and control. You're going to do it how we tell you to do it, and you're going to stay inside the box, or we're going to make your life hell. It's very sad. You hope I can keep finding the strength. I'm going to tell you what, it's dwindling. It's dwindling quick. Because there's literally very little respect shown for the efforts. And there's a decent handful of us activists and volunteers. We're out here every day. And we're not getting paid. Not a dime. If people think that this is a for-profit operation, I'll gladly show you my books and my taxes and how much of my money I've put into this. And the city has had all of this COVID money for the last year, which, by the way, that's coming to a halt. Yeah, Jack, I do, and I'm going to take one very soon. And I'm not going to announce that because you know it's going to happen. Why not buy several lots and make it a safe place for them to park and where they can keep their RV and tents? That would make perfect sense. Except in the city of Denver, this city is not going to give up any lot anywhere. Although they have plenty of vacant schools that have sat empty for years. The state of Colorado, the Colorado Department of Transportation, is currently putting up these obnoxious 10-foot chain link fences with barbed wire across their lots, which I suspect that's what they're going to do next, where these people are, and then just have this hideous eyesore of open land that could very well and very easily be managed by the activists that understand how to be good neighbors. But if the city does that, that would be a solution. They're not looking for solutions. They're looking for money. Homelessness is big business for city governments. Yeah. If we're to go out and find a private lot, yeah. And the problem with that is, that's fine. Say we find a donor, and I had one that was interested in a small piece that we thought we might be able to negotiate. But even if we do that, the city's going to come in and go, nope, can't do this. This is against city ordinance. So it's going to have to be, we have to beg government every step of the way. So we'd have to beg them for variances on a private piece of land Well, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. So unless people start putting the pressure on the city to make them do that and start partnering with the people that know how to work with the homeless and connect them, nothing's going to change. That would be solutions. Yep, housing them in jail, all that medical. Yes, I agree. And if Denver keeps it up, I mean, they're going to have to build another jail. Because get this, all of that FEMA money, all of that federal money that came into cities, including Denver, to house people susceptible to COVID, all of that's ending. And a bunch of those shelters are closing. And they're saying, bye, go back out on the streets. So wait till June in Denver, and shit's really going to get real. This is not going to get better. The homeless population is going to increase. Denver is going to spend more money fighting this lawsuit to stop the sweeps than they would if they would just stop and figure out what they need to do to put these people where they could be safe. Whether it be housing for those that can handle that, or whether it be a safe place to park that's managed. I don't ever make excuses for the amount of trash that some of them produce at a rate of, 50 households a day. They have to manage the things they do. And a lot of them are doing that because they are working, so they're scrapping. This area is very prevalent for people that do that because there's a scrapyard right here that they can get to. For the most part, they can ride their bikes. They can take their bike carts. So why not let them do that and then just have a place for them to sleep at night? Oh, because every homeless person is a drug addict. Well, that's interesting because even the drug addicts know how to take care of themselves. I mean, they're not laying out here just dying on the street. They're still surviving. So if we can't cure drug addiction, why not let them still try to take care of themselves? I don't know. That's my motto. That's pretty much what I do. I talk to the ones that might have interest in changing things, but if they don't, I don't think I have to treat them inhumanely and punish them for trying to survive. I don't know. You like your neighbor being 2 miles away, Jack? Pueblo? Yeah, it's going to get bad all over the state. And, a couple of them, I was talking to a couple of them today, and they're talking about going east if their RVs can make it. So, I mean, you're really talking about spreading them out all over the state. And I'm sure Denver is all over that. I mean, they would love that. Yep, it is a global problem at the moment. And it's not going to get better. It's just not. When you shut down the entire economy for a year and think that there aren't going to be some serious after effects, oh, I don't know. I don't know if all the illegals are coming to Colorado. We can't even manage our legal population. Jesus said we would always have the poor and needy. That is correct. So I think that I'm going to call it a night. And, oh, before I go, everybody, get this. You remember Brenda and her trespassing case? Raise your hand if you remember. Raise your hand if you remember 73-year-old Brenda. And how many times I've had to go to a virtual court with her. Yes, financial crash is coming. It is, it is, it is. Anyway, Brenda's criminal charges for trespassing got dropped. And that's a good thing. You remember Brenda? Brenda parked in Kumar's parking lot on a Sunday afternoon in August because it was hot as hell and her truck was overheating because she had the air conditioner on. She thought her dog was going to die, so she pulled into the parking lot because the shade was in the parking lot because where the trees were, blah, blah, blah. Somebody saw her on video surveillance, even though they weren't there, and called the cops. And the cops went and found her like 2 hours after the fact somewhere else and charged her with trespassing. And they even named a victim on the citation. And then Brenda didn't tell anybody that she'd got this ticket. She forgot. Brenda she cannot process all that. And so I found out, and by then, of course, they had issued a warrant for a 73-year-old woman with a dog in a truck. And so we had to clear the warrant. We've had 4 court appearances that last anywhere from 2 to 3 hours at a time. So for the city dropping those charges, can I get some reimbursement for the hours that I had to put in? Because you're paying that city public defender. So why can't you pay me? I had to take the phone to her. I had to make sure there was the technology because she couldn't even go down there. She couldn't even get down there. But anyway, the cops, the community resource officers in District 4, Officer Chavez and Officer Anderson, had some communication on that deal, and perhaps they saw that this wasn't a good charge. And some conversations might have been had, and the charges got dropped. So yes, that's fantastic news. Shade is a criminal offense. And she turned off her truck. She wasn't sure it was going to start, but she needed shade to cool down her truck and her dog. And so, yes, her truck did start and she drove off. It was that simple. Shame on her. Yeah, well, I continue to try to open a few people's eyes. But so the big thing right now is fire safety. I can respect that. So I'm going to work pretty diligently with Denver Fire to try to help these people be safe. Because as you recall, we had a man that had a fire over where they swept them from. And he passed away after, I think it was 10 days in ICU. He was burned badly, and his medical conditions, even before he went in there, it's very sad. I just feel like we could have done more, and I feel a little bit guilty, but I don't know how to always get through. So I am going to start a new campaign. And the Libertarian Party is having their convention this coming weekend. I cannot attend, but they are doing, they're essentially doing a fundraiser because this nonprofit is founded in libertarian principles and philosophy that the government cannot solve these social ills and that people have to get smarter. However, when we have the real conversations about how and why government is supposed to help keep us safe, I would agree that the actual first responders in that whole equation of quasi-government would be fire departments all throughout the country. And I don't have an issue with actual help, with actually saving lives. I have an issue with criminalizing people for surviving. But I do want them to be safe. And I have learned a lot about fire safety, different things that cause problems when you're living outdoors or living in campers that have inoperable things and parts, and different combinations of gas and how they're being used around tarps, all kinds of things. And escaping from something that is on fire. So I do want to help promote that level of safety. So I am starting a new campaign on fire safety. And that does include not having piles of combustible trash everywhere, not having mounds and mounds of wood and plastics and things that, if they go up in flames, are going to take out everyone around them. There's a difference between trying to survive and a difference between being an asshole. I've said that a million times, and I say it to him out here all the time. And I am making progress. So I feel good about that, and I think if we just continue to work on those things, we're going to get even better. So, because these people aren't going away, and you're not going to sweep them away. Toilets? Yeah, no, they won't do that. We do that. The toilets that I provide, well, we're back down to one. That's all funded with private money. Contact the fire marshal to get batteries. You know what we talked about today? One of the guys is going to go to one of the Denver Fire Department stations and ask for a fire extinguisher. I cannot wait to hear what that answer is going to be, because they are told constantly that they should be provided the same level of safety services as anyone else. Thanks, Jack. Have a good night. But what do you mean the fire marshal to get batteries? To pick things up off the street? Is that what you're saying? I'll get nothing from the Libertarian Party? That's not true. The Libertarian Party in Colorado is very active, and I think they could do a better job on issues. But this nonprofit was formed by libertarians. Every single person that donated to start this nonprofit was from the Libertarian Party. And all of those dollars went to form a 501c3. So we weren't beholden to the IRS. Sure, we could have skipped that whole process, but that would land us inoperable. So they'll provide what detectors? Like carbon monoxide and... The government's role is to look after people. We might have a philosophical difference of opinion there. Smoke detectors, yeah. For some of the RVs and stuff, yeah. We're more pushing towards fire suppression systems because they're such small spaces that there really isn't time to determine that there's a problem, because the problem's already there. So we're working hard towards fire suppression. that might be the person that we need to help that person. Oh, you're in New Zealand? Yeah, well, so that's a little bit more of a socialist system, right? I would prefer to have a system that helped those that can't versus those who won't. And I do think private charity should support more of the people that can't. Wrong what? What, the smoke detectors? Is that what you're talking about? Yes, I agree. I shouldn't have said that. No, they shouldn't have smoke detectors. But that's going to be a case of us having to get into the structure and help them set that up. So yeah, I mean, that's good. Live Oak, Florida. Where's that? I pay taxes to look after my country's infrastructure and services that benefit citizens of my country. It seems U.S. taxes go towards paying for its military-industrial complex. I agree. I agree wholly. Americans have a Fox News view of socialism. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I don't want the government in charge of shit. Really. Everything it touches, it screws up. Okay? So if we could get down to just the very basic essentials of constitutional government, we would call ourselves a free country. Defend! What's going on? So tell me how New Zealand is free if they're taking care of everyone. Somebody's doing fireworks up in that neighborhood. Which, by the way, the day of the sweep, somebody in that same neighborhood called the fire department or called 911 or something and said that there was some explosive battery or something down the street here, and the fire department showed up with a hazmat crew to investigate a battery that may or may not have been at the end of the street. Hear those fireworks? Those are really going for a long time. No, not in California. This is Denver. Hey, Defend, are you still here? Do you remember the last time you were out here? And that camper situation for that gal that went to jail? And then the next day, the camper got broken into and Colleen got robbed? I'm checking on these guys because we had a sweep. A couple of them need to go to the hospital. One of them definitely needs to go, and he won't go. The other one, she's pretty sick, but now there's help here, so I'll probably be done here in a minute. But anyway, so... Oh, was there a tornado warning earlier? So anyway, about that camper, she just got out of jail. And she'd like to know where her camper and her dog is. Sad story there. I wish we could have helped her. Yeah, John, they had the whole street blocked off. It was nuts. I think it was just a prank call. But they came. People like to make a huge mockery out of those living homeless. Yeah, we have some tiny home villages. Well, one. They're setting up safe outdoor spaces on a temporary basis, and then they are making them move every 6 months. So they're in the middle of moving one of those safe outdoor spaces that was working so well, and another church said that they would have it. It's Park Hill, and now the neighbors are suing the church, the pastor, and all the people from the tiny home village or village collaborative that put this all together. The neighbors went and filed a federal lawsuit to stop it. Oh, we want to help the homeless, but not here. You can't be here. Out of sight, out of mind. That's exactly right. She should have stayed out of jail. How do you know? How do you know she was guilty? You cannot justify her camper and her dog. She was more upset about the dog. Just because you go to jail doesn't mean someone's entitled to steal your entire home. Come on now. Didn't you go to jail one time? Who hasn't been to jail? Move along to where? What are you talking about? Is it usual that Americans have a deep distrust of government? Yeah. They lie. They steal. They're incompetent, inept. Yeah, we distrust our government. Except the majority of us just go along with the partisan line instead of trying to get away from that. No, defend. What happened was straight up wrong, that her home and her dog disappeared. Oh, it is? Janet has one of those buttons? Nice. I like that. I need to start making more buttons too. I got a button maker in no time. You were in the holding cell for 2 hours, Paul? I went to the Denver jail once for 8 hours. Oh, you're being snarky. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. Because she was really upset. And I never saw Colleen again. Weird. After she accused me of doing a live stream, therefore that set her up to be robbed. So it was my fault. So she went around and told everybody that all of her shit disappeared because of me. Grateful Gal, you went to jail at 16? Or, like jail? Ew. You had foot shackles on at the age of 16? What state was that? For stealing a bra. Wow. Let me guess, somewhere like Authoritarian Hell, Arizona, Maricopa County, something like that. Somewhere in Texas, Florida, Michigan. Well, you learned how to distrust authority real quick, didn't you? You're too good looking to go to jail. Huh. I've heard that before. My good looks and my charm. Good. People are being taken care of. That's what I like to see. Denver what? Defend. Bohika, can you put my website up? helpinghandsfordignity.org. I need some money for toilets. Cleaning these toilets is expensive. The city won't do it. And all of the neighbors, their main concern is all of the people defecating all over their neighborhood. And the more Denver spreads them out, the more toilets I need. So we got to get on the toilet thing this week. I need money for toilets. You assaulted a lady with a glass bra. Huh? At a smash and grab? Were you rioting? Bohika, come on. helpinghandsfordignity.org. All one word, and it'll have a link. You have to go to the website, copy the link, and put it in the comments. helpinghandsfordignity.org. So people can just click on it. Come on, you guys. I need some moderators. I need a chat that just continuously scrolls. You put the space, no, just all one word. helpinghandsfordignity.org. Okay, I gotta go. I gotta go do laundry. Monday morning's gonna come soon, and I have to go finish my laundry. Everybody's taken care of now. I got backup, so now I can go home. Thanks, John. Go donate for toilets at helpinghandsfordignity.org. We do important work out here. Have a good night.